So last time we left you on a bit of a cliffhanger because after just a few short months of living aboard, we had to move out so we could haul out. Because Curiosity was having some symptoms that led us to sail 10 days across the Philippines to reach the HH factory on the island of Cebu.
So before we dive into the saga, I feel like I should say that we 100% expected issues. I mean, it's a brand spanking new boat. It is hull number 3 of a completely new design, and they've taken thousands of parts from dozens of different manufacturers and crammed them into this small space.
Teething issues are so expected, and warranty work is 1000% expected. We came into all of it with a good attitude and ready to learn the fixes and share them all with you. It was just once we got to the boat and we started looking around, we sort of entered a state of shock.
Yeah, the boat wasn't in great shape. There were projects that were supposed to be completed that hadn't been started yet, and the work just wasn't up to spec.
So we put our cameras down and stopped filming because it just was not the typical HH quality of work that we were used to seeing, and it just didn't feel right. So we grabbed our phones and we just started documenting everything and sending SOS reports back to management.
Yeah, and look, the HH factory in Cebu is brand new. They haven't completed a boat yet, so when they hauled our boat out, it really was the first finished boat they had ever worked on.
And first boat they've ever hauled out. So when we sent those reports, I think it even took them by surprise. And they said, oh my goodness, let us send you some new workers. And unfortunately, that is going to take more time though.
Yeah, so things take a really long time in Cebu because right now they're using the haul out facility of a company called Austal. And Austal's like this big international shipbuilder. They do government and
defense work. I mean, it's a very cool facility, which we would love to show you, but unfortunately, because they do defense work and government work, they have very strict security protocol. So we are not allowed to film at the yard. We can't film outside of our vessel. And because of those strict security protocols, it takes a very long time to get each worker and all their tools approved to be at the yard.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how long it took just for us to come in and see our boat and the equipment that we had to wear.
Oh, they're very serious about the safety and security at that yard.
But this will all be fixed in the future because HH is working on their own marina and their own haul out and splash facility. So it's just like we're the guinea pigs.
We just were the guinea pigs. So we needed to just kind of head back to our hotel and give them some time and some space to get it right.
Day 35. We are heading across the mountain again. We tried about, 8 or 10 days ago. It didn't go so well. Nikki is at the hospital. She's been at the hospital kind of on and off all week.
Always me, causing all the problems.
Nothing crazy, just like an intense, what we think is a migraine. I'll let her tell you more about that if she wants to. It's just been sort of a crazy week, and unfortunately both of us have also now picked up a bug a few days ago. Let's just say the bathroom has been very busy at this hotel. Maybe E. coli, I don't know, maybe the water, maybe who knows what. But it has not been a very productive week. But I've got all of our gear ready to go. The bellman's gonna come up and help me bring it down. We're gonna go pick up Nikki from the hospital, and then we're gonna go across the mountain back to our boat. All that stuff.
It's raining.
Yeah, big time, huh?
That took a lot longer than I expected. Very windy road, but it is spectacular when you get the little gaps. Pit stop. Should I say corn stop? Okay, I think it's day 37, and today is splash day. We are finally moving back onto the boat, and it is 6:30, so we are getting started early. Is it day 37?
38?
38? Or seriously?
37, 38, something like that.
I don't know, I lost count. Okay. You're downstairs. Away.
Okay, I'm coming. Apartment. Bed. Shower. You take the backpack?
Oh, yeah.
Morning, Power.
Big day. John was up at 4 o'clock in the morning to meet them to break the scaffolding down so he could be on the boat while they broke the scaffolding down.
Yep.
And they started to put it in the water at like 6 and it'll officially splash supposedly around 7.
Yeah. So it has been a very early morning for the crew. It's going to be a long day for them. It's going to be a long day for us. But man, I am so ready to be back in my home. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
Can't even tell you. What time did you start this morning, Power?
I go for the factory around 5:30.
5. Woo!
Yeah.
Early morning for you too.
Yes. I have to clean the car first, check up, then ready to go.
Oh. Wondered how they were gonna do that. They're pulling by hand. Morning.
This will be our skipper for the day.
Lovely morning for a boat ride. Now I hear it over here.
Rudder test.
Yeah, getting a little bit of like cavitation or knocking or something.
Yes.
So right now we've got 1 knot helping us along. So there's 2,500 RPMs. The boat is doing 5 knots speed.
And hybrid's off, right?
Hybrids are off. So now we're gonna go full throttle. RPMs are setting at about 35. Boat speed is 7. Now I'm gonna turn around, go the exact opposite direction.
180.
Do the same thing. So there's 25. Boat speed is 5.2. 5.3. Whoa, we're hitting higher RPMs on this side. 59, almost 36. 3,600 RPMs. That's good. 7.2. Oh, it just hit 7.3.
Hybrid's on. She's doing electric.
100% on both. It pulls about 175 to 190 amps per side, but hey, we're slowly clicking up. We're at 6.1 knots of boat speed right now. Number one thing to know about electric motors is you never want to run them at 100% for very long at all. You're going to drain your battery so fast, but it's amazing if you taper down to 70% or even 80, energy efficiency is like drastically improved. And so if you keep going down, so running at 45%, we can do this for quite a long time on our batteries, which is great because we're only pulling 59 amps per side right now. And I'm going to let you put the math on the screen for how much battery bank we have as to how long you could do that. And going at that 45% on both, that's giving us right now, we're doing about 4.8 knots of speed. Not bad. I mean, if you're stuck in the doldrums or something, silent motoring, priceless. Especially in full sun.
Right, you want to see how it drops? This was my biggest challenge because everybody was saying it's cross halyards and all that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. Just ignore that noise in the background. We're descaling the coffee maker.
So that we can have a functioning coffee maker. Yeah. So everybody left. Sea trials are over. All they have to do is come back tomorrow for a couple of very small minor things. I'm sure it won't take them more than an hour. And I think we're...
Famous last words.
I,
Shouldn't take them
2,
more
3,
than
4,
an
5,
hour. Yeah.
6 days.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And then we should be done,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yesterday we spent the entire day reviewing and going through the boat and reviewing all of the stuff that they fixed and the things that they didn't fix.
Yeah.
Making a log of all of that, reporting back to HH, you know,
Still an ongoing
documenting, photographing.
process. Yeah, so we've got a lot of organizing now of photographs and information so that we can send that all to them. So we're going to do that. And through that process, that will help us organize our thoughts so that we can kind of tell you about the work that was done. What, hits and misses. It's a good way to say it. We don't want to, especially don't want to do it right now. It's a little...
Too fresh. Too fresh, because some of the things are extremely frustrating. But nothing like, hey, we're healthy and we're alive and the boat is
works,
floating
and
and
we're gonna
they
be
fixed a few big things that have been kind of a problem. So, yeah, like, hey, you can, brush it off and say, oh, it's no big deal. But, some of the things are...
It's frustrating.
Yeah,
it's just...
frustrating.
Period. I don't care, like, new boat, old boat, whether you're in a refit or or warranty work or what the case may be. It's always a bit of a frustrating process because no matter where you are... maybe if you are the yard that magically actually leaves the boat in a better condition than whenever it arrives, I want to come to you.
Leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
We'll sail over there.
We like some of the yards we've been
my
to very
God.
much, but
Yeah.
it's still like the boat takes a beating every time because people come in with tools and things and they try to clean things and they don't. They end up just scratching things or whatever. And
We said we weren't going to get into it.
I know, but I'm just anyway.
Yeah,
It's just it can be a frustrating process.
So our
Yeah.
mind's kind of racing right now. We're gonna organize all those thoughts. Last time we left you on a cliffhanger. I'm not gonna do that again. Let's talk about those hits and misses.
This is not our first rodeo. We've had 3 different RVs that we've taken through the shakedown and warranty process, and then we've had a used catamaran that we outfitted for world cruising. So we feel like we've been on both the having warranty work done and doing the work ourselves side of things.
And I feel like that makes us see it better from both sides and be realistic with our expectations. And look, we're all human, so, mistakes are gonna happen. It's just part of it. But it's how a company handles those issues or those problems that can make or break the experience. And fortunately, HH was able to fix a few of the things with the extra time, and unfortunately, they weren't able to fix everything.
Right, and that's where it's like, we would rather just not make this video at all, to be quite honest, and rehash it all, but it's been almost 40 days of our lives now, and we've gone kind of quiet. We didn't publish some videos during this time frame, so, and we've still got like another round or 2 to get everything rectified. So it's not like it's something that we can just gloss over or ignore, especially because we've always shared the reality of this lifestyle, and this is part of it. So we are just going to rip off the Band-Aid and start with our biggest issue.
So we did have stray current, and that's essentially current just running throughout our boat. And carbon, turns out, is a really good conductor of electricity. And that is what caused our engine anodes getting depleted so quickly, and it's most likely what caused the sludge in our expansion tanks and in our heat exchanger.
There are different mixed metals that are all a part of the engine itself. Part of it is even cast iron.
Yeah.
So rust, that's most likely what we were seeing happening, was just like rust being created from the inside.
HH replaced our heat exchanger, replaced our expansion tank and the lines and everything so we can
Flushed out the engines,
keep an eye on everything. One of the issues that we noticed and is helpful for you is a red flag, and that is excessive rust and excessive pitting, which we were seeing, and we initially reported to HH and said, this has only been 2 months and everything's rusted like crazy.
They have just like all of our deck hardware.
Yeah.
Like all of the deck hardware. And we were thinking, we had an old boat, we never had to polish like this. This is crazy.
Yeah, and we're rinsing after sailing and everything. So we thought, well, we're doing our due diligence. So anyway, if you notice extreme rust showing up very quickly, that could be potential. You might have straight current like we did.
And then, of course, the engine anodes, that was another sort of telltale sign. So it was like we were churning through those one a month. There were these warning signs that something was not right.
Here is what they think, or what they're saying caused the issue. They install a lightning rod at the top of the mast. They connect that lightning rod to the mast because our mast is aluminum. We have the OC model. And then from the bottom of the mast, they then connect again, go down to a grounding plate.
And that's all very standard install procedure, so it's not uncommon.
Yeah, ABYC standard. But the issue is the bolts going through our aluminum base plate on the mast are then touching the carbon. One hull anode is zinc, and then that lightning dissipation plate is copper. So
connect all those metals together, you've got a battery.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was part of what was causing all of that current flowing through the boat. So now they've rectified that, and we just have to keep an eye on our anodes and all of our deck hardware once we get it all polished up, because it is still rusty. We got a little bit of work to do there, but we'll be able to keep an eye on it. And we are going to order, what the heck is that thing called?
A CRE, something reference electrode. Certified reference electrode.
We'll put text on screen. Anyway, next issue. Our solar panels have little spots of delamination starting, and it's throughout all the different panels. It's not like just one. And we've also noticed that the performance hasn't been as good as we have expected. Like, they are working, they are pulling in power, but just not what they should. And HH has been doing a bunch of testing as well, and they have decided to move. So they've got what they are calling a Gen 2 panel that is a lot more robust, and they've had really good results with so far. So they've already started putting the Gen 2 on all the boats going forward, and now that just means that at some point in time they will have to replace ours, and it just wasn't a good time yet to do that at the factory in Cebu. So it's something we're going to have to tackle later.
Yeah, apparently it's a really big job, and that's why we also haven't really talked about our solar, because it hasn't been performing as we had hoped. So we are running the diesel in generate mode more often than we expected. Not that often, but still.
All things considered, it's still, like, it's just the battery bank itself is so big, it does last for a long time. But a lot of you were like, I don't understand, why are you motoring so much? Why aren't you using those electric engines more? And I think if our solar was performing at peak, we would absolutely be able to get more just straight electric motoring hours out of it. So that is our hope in the future, but for now, that's just sort of been the experience so far. If we're at anchor, we're sort of okay. Every 4 days we run. It depends on
3 to 5 days we'll run.
It depends on what all we're doing, to
the
be quite
engine
honest.
for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Or we move. The next big issue is our mainsail, and it's not been a terrible thing. It's just when we get below the spreaders, it becomes very hard to pull the mainsail down and get that headboard disconnected from the mast. And it turns out our boat is the very first OC. The first two were SCs, so we have a different type of line. They put 14 millimeter halyard on our boat, whereas the SCs had 12 millimeter performance halyards. So we thought it would work. It just created too much friction, which made it really difficult to pull that sail down.
So it doesn't mean that we couldn't get our mainsail down, but it took a lot of effort at that last little bit. And whenever you're in really sloppy seas and there's a storm and you're trying to get your mainsail down, that is not the time you want to be up there dinking around with something or standing in the stack pack trying to yank something down. So that's why for us, we just felt like we're only, an operation of 2. We need that thing to fall down and to be able to get it down quickly. So they've learned from that, and that's part of like what happens with holes number 1, 2, and 3, and we're sort of hole number 1-ish.
Of the OC, we're hole number 1.
Exactly. So that was a learning. So now they've switched it, and all future boats will all have 12 mil, and they're ordering us a line for that as well. And so in the meantime...
Oh, but hold on. They're not just downsizing the line. They're going with a higher quality, like, racing performance line. So it is stronger, even though it's smaller diameter.
Yeah, exactly. You don't lose any strength. That's the key there. In the interim, we've gone from a 2-to-1, which is what our setup is now, to a 1-to-1, just so that it falls really easily. So if we get a storm or we have heavy weather on our next leg of the journey, we can get it down.
But the 1-to-1 is temporary. Once we get the new line, we'll go back to 2-to-1. And the other thing with the mainsail that they did was our lazy jacks were initially going from the boom racks straight to the mast. So they had this pinching point when you're raising the mainsail. They would get caught in the back part of the battens as you're raising the main. And the whole idea of the boom racks is to get the lazy jacks out further so you don't have them interfering with the mainsail. At the factory, they were able to run some rigging to these spreaders, and now our lazy jacks run not perfectly straight up like the SC, but they're a lot better and a lot wider. So that should make it a lot easier for us to raise the main.
Yep. So we mentioned pretty early on that we needed a prop pitch change because when we left the factory, we had a 10.5 pitch on our props. While our regen was really good, our motoring speeds were a little subpar. So they did make a pitch change. So we went to an 11. And we did get a little bit more speed. I would say what?
Maybe a half a knot. It's hard to say exactly.
Yeah, 0.8 is sort of what we've seen on the increase. So we were still sort of maxing out on our little sea trial at 7.2, which is still quite a bit under the 8.5 that is what HH claims on their bargaining materials, and that's what's written in our contract, and that's supposed to be our top speed. So we haven't reached that yet, but we're hoping maybe with a little bit more tweaking, they can get us a little closer to them.
So this one's one of those weird things, the fridge DFD, delayed defrost. Vitafrigo sent them a new computer board, which was supposed to fix the issue. They installed it. It was fixed. And then 2 weeks later, right before we splashed, the DFD issue came back. Oh, man. It's just one of those.
So, like, that's your typical warranty stuff, right? Like, you just have all these bits and bobs from different manufacturers. And while maybe the last 50 that they installed, all of those fridges are working perfectly, we just happen to get the one that's having some sort of a weird quirk. You know, you just never really know. So, and that's just part of the warranty process. It's not anything that HH has done wrong. It just is what it is.
The fridge is working. It just has to be manually defrosted every 30 to 60 days. So.
And you get a very annoying
delayed DFD alarm at 2 a.m. for some reason. Always at 2 a.m. it just goes off. Beep, beep. And you wake up when you're on anchor like, oh no, what's happening?
I think it's maybe ever happened once during daylight hours.
Yeah.
It's always in the middle of the night. Freaks you out every time. We've mentioned a couple of times now that we needed anti-foul, and that caused a lot of people to send me emails saying like, oh no, what happened to your copper bottom? You know, nothing has happened. All the rest of our bottom paint is absolutely great. It's just on the very back end because we have these very unique transoms. It was more just a design choice in the beginning, and they didn't want to put bottom paint back there because they were like, oh, it won't look as good.
Yeah.
Like they loved it really nice and clean, but the reality is there's just enough of it that touches water that growth happens back there. And at first, you know, we thought maybe we could just be able to wipe it away and it wouldn't be a big deal, but it was a bit more to keep up with than we originally expected. I think more so than HH expected. So now it's standard, everybody's getting the bottom paint all the way around. So it was just adding bottom paint to that back portion.
So this is one of those new design issues. We have a completely new design of a boat, so there's going to be little teething issues like we mentioned in the beginning, and one of them is drainage. There are these cockpit trays where you can put like a cell phone or a camera while you're cruising, and unfortunately, with the way the boat sat, the trays were perfectly flat, so they didn't really drain until they were almost full.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want your phone sitting in there because then you get a puddle of water. And then same for the sink. The sinks were designed really nice. They looked great, but they didn't fully drain. So you'd always have a little bit of water like hanging out in the corner.
Just didn't have quite enough of a slope. And it's one of those things where you think it's all good and you do not even know it until you really start using the vessel. So the moment it got reported, they immediately made retrofit kits for the sink and for the trays, and they sent it out to holes 1, 2, and 3. And then everybody else's boat, it will be fixed immediately right out of the factory. So it won't be an issue for anybody else, but it was one of those early design things that you notice. They fixed, but that was also part of one of the things when we came back the first time where we saw the fiberglass work being done in the gel coat, and it was not great.
Not up to HH spec at all.
No, and that was like part of the stuff where we were like, oh, you know, they absolutely agreed, and they were like, ooh, okay, let us get on top of that. Yeah. So, but it looks great now. It's all fixed. So
we're happy with it. That's not all the hits and misses, but hopefully that gives you some insight onto what's been going on behind the scenes with us and our boat.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like through this whole process of them doing work and the cleaning and the polishing, there was some damage done. They just weren't there yet. And that's just the unfortunate part of us being the very first boat to come to this brand new factory, because they have not finished a boat yet. So they're still in the process of hiring and training for those final stages of the build process.
And I think this experience took them by surprise just as much as it took us by surprise. And they have assured us that they stand behind their products, they stand behind their customers, and they've promised to make everything right. They've also assured us that all future work done will be to the high standards that HH is known for.
Exactly. And so for us, it has been a long and stressful and expensive 5.5 weeks of living out of hotels, but we are happy to kind of just be back in our space, back in our home, and get back out on the water.
And we have new crew coming, part of our Curiosity crew. We had a big crew call a couple weeks ago.
Oh no, it's a month ago.
A month ago, 3 weeks ago. So anyway, they're gonna come here tomorrow. We are clearly not ready because stuff is everywhere. We just unloaded all of our groceries and living
We had stuff we brought today, and then we had stuff we did yesterday. We spent like a whole afternoon, but it's like you're just moving back in. You have to move off the boat for everybody to work on it, and then you got to move back onto the boat whenever it's done. And we're in the moving in process now, so we need to like get clean linens on the beds and everything so we can sleep tonight and put toiletries in the bathroom.
Vacuum, because who knows what kind of dust is on there. We'll be better next time.
Okay.
I swear.
We're gonna
be more focused.
We're gonna be better next time.
We're gonna be better.
Stop making promises you can't keep. Anyway, we're gonna get to work. That's what we're gonna do. Okay.
Okay.
Break.
Break. It's day 39. We had sea trials 2 days ago. They're still working on a couple things. And one thing we realized yesterday is this.
No, you realized it during sea trial.
Well, yeah, that's right. I realized it during sea trial, and while we were sailing, I was like, wow, those are really slack. And our expert on board said, oh no, I tuned it exactly how they said. It's exactly right. So yesterday I sent a video of me doing this, and I get an instant response going, oh, you can't tune a rig when it's on the hard. You have to tune the rig in the water. This is our forestay. It's super slacky as well. We were about to go out to sea today. Thankfully, I figured it out. They're coming back out this afternoon to retune the rig, do some stuff with the shaft, and a couple other random things that they forgot to do. Hopefully we can leave today. We might just pick up anchor and move 20 miles. I don't know. It's been too long.
Putting the oars away?
Yeah.
Because you're making room because
we have crew coming. They have just arrived. They are at the dock. Everything is a mess. But it's okay. Everything's gonna be fine.
Everything's gonna be fine.
It always works out.
The never-ending statement around here, everything's gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine. Because it is all gonna be fine. Quick test spin just to make sure.
Before we all get in, make sure it works. Hey guys.
Hi! Welcome to the Philippines.
Thank you.
Did you say you brought a lot of?
It's a lot of nuts. Like a whole lot of nuts.
And a ton of AG1, right?
A ton of
And a
these
ton,
too.
and a ton of AG1.
We're a little bit nuts too, so it all works.
I love it's all soft-sided. They do not mess around. Everything's foldable, packable.
They know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Good crew.
They're gonna bring them on the bigger boat. It's a little more stable. A little bit bigger platform to carry luggage.
Less wet than our ride.
Less wet, yeah. It rained like crazy last night. I haven't had a chance to wipe off the tender. And yeah, they had a really crazy ride coming over here. They had an emergency. Well, I'll let you tell them. I'll let them tell you. There you go.
And I gotta tell you, I am so glad that we put out a crew call and are bringing on some of our members because, man, just this whole time period at the factory has been so nuts. It'll be really good to have some of our virtual friends become real friends and just fresh blood that's excited to be here. It'll help liven up crew morale, and HH is gonna sort us out. It's all gonna be fine, and we're gonna have a great passage, and I am so looking forward to it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be so good. Thanks for all the work, Delmain.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you guys for all the work. Appreciate you.
Yes, offendable.
The only downside of this boat, well, one of the downsides is it's hard to board and unboard. So.
We'll do bags first. Does that seem about right?
Go. Yeah. Don't.
Hey! Hi! How are you?
So introduce yourself quickly.
Hey, I'm Mel. This is my husband, Coop.
Hi.
We came all the way from Hawaii to come spend time with Jason and Nikki.
Yeah. And tell us about your crazy flight and missed flight, because you should have been here yesterday.
Oh yes, so we had an emergency, unfortunately, on our flight, some potential stroke victims. So we ended up actually landing in Guam, unscheduled flight to Guam, and then unloaded the passenger, and then we continued on to Manila. And by that time, our flight to Cebu was already gone. But it turned out it was canceled anyway, so we wouldn't have been here either way.
I guess silver lining, seems weird to say though, considering the circumstances. So we'll just say worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out. We're here. We got to spend the night in Manila. It was pretty cool.
So hey,
Yeah.
you saw an extra city.
Yeah.
That was really neat actually. The stop in Manila was not on the agenda, but getting to walk around town, getting to see some of the communities there.
We went to the port to check it out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Seeing how Starbucks is everywhere in Manila.
That's only in Manila though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was notable. You know,
It's
we
like
were driving around and I
McDonald's.
saw one, I saw another, and then I opened up the Google Maps to look at it, and it was like Starbucks everywhere. That's just...
Did you happen to do McDonald's? I feel like
No.
it's McDonald's and Starbucks are like everywhere.
No, I did fall for Starbucks. That was a creature comfort I went for. I took a walk while we were waiting yesterday, and you know, it was a great walk through town to see the, I don't know, just all the life in Manila is so interesting. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome aboard. I'm nice and sweaty. Nice to
Jason,
see you.
yeah. All right.
pants.
I'm so, yeah, I know, you're crazy.
We're gonna get these guys settled, and we've got to make a market run. We got a busy day, so let you go for now.